হাত কাটা আর পিঠ কাটা ছাড়া ব্লাউজ হয় এটা I didn't never realized.
This married school friend of mine took me in the corner and stole a kiss with me. I mean, I like to say that I faced a lot of abuse from Sheilaji.
I have grown up seeing that women are far stronger than men, and I have no qualms in saying it.
Hi everyone, welcome to my podcast Straight Up with Shree. At the onset, I would like to thank everyone who's been sharing so generously our last episode, which I think was one of our most powerful. The heinous Arjikor rape, the lack of justice after so many days have passed, the unending protest marches, the songs we are composing, the poems we are writing, and the sadness and the angst that we feel has kept me going as well 3 weeks after my mother's death. Today, I am very happy that I have the two people I will shortly introduce on my podcast, but also I'm very proud of myself that I am doing a whole episode and segment on what masculinity really means. We keep talking about toxic masculinity. It's a term that is very loosely used these days, along with another adage, not all men. It almost seems now to me, after years of being a feminist, writing books on women and gender, that everything that I now say about men, violence, abuse, exploitation, must be qualified by saying not all men. I have two of the most celebrated men in this city, interdisciplinary artist, fellow Sagittarian, and almost a family member, somebody who stood with me and my family through thick and thin. And I've seen Sujoy through his many seasons. We've both lost our mothers and we've shared that pain and a lot more. I hope some of that at least comes out on that show. Sujoy,
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on Straight Up with Sree.
Thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. Director, writer, and an ally of this movement like Sujoy. Birsa's writings on social media have deeply stirred my consciousness. We had Bidipta on the show, and you may wonder, oh, acha, so Bidipta on one show and Birsa on another. But Birsa's movies, some of them, as Sujoy said off the camera, have really crossed that Lakshman Rekha and have gone into a non-binary space. I think that's a brave, brave place of being for anyone in our commercial cinema industry, Tollywood, Bollywood, anything. So right at the onset, welcome Birsa.
Thank you.
Thank you so
It's an honor.
much. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on this
Can
show.
I have an introduction for him?
Yes, please. Why not?
একই অঙ্গে এত রূপ.
Huh.
That I think is the
Well, that's the name of a path-breaking film directed by his grandfather,
Right.
Dasgupta.
Right.
This is his birth centenary year. Thank you for saying that because, you know, it's interesting if I'm allowed to
Of
comment
course.
on this. Birsa possibly had it in his genes also because the gentleman that I'm talking about, who probably slept, danced, and ate with Hollywood at
Correct.
one point of time, who
Yeah.
was a path-breaking filmmaker of
Garbo.
his times, Greta Garbo, Grace Kelly.
Absolutely.
You know, your
It was
aunt
an
Shohag
institution.
Sen was talking about how he used to dance with Grace Kelly. So I was like, oh, fish. So now, Birsa's family also, like Raja Dasgupta, the filmmaker. I mean, the way he crossed boundaries and crossed borders with television. He's one of the undisputed television directors
Right.
who gave a new life to television
Yeah.
because he talked about the youth. He voiced the youth at the time when what we were doing on television was only reinventing or probably inventing classics. You see, I mean, I'm just kind of probably digressing, but coming back to this
Yeah.
topic, how relevant Dahon is today.
Today, yeah.
true.
You know, Pew, I'm sorry, should I call you Shree or Pew? I don't know.
Anything.
I call you Pew otherwise,
Yes.
you know. It feels strange to call you Sreemoyee. The thing is, Pew, I was watching a documentary on Rituparna Ghosh, and I was kind of watching those scenes of Dahon that came, and there was my full-time domestic help was there. দাদা এই ছবিটা কি? আমি বললাম এই ছবিটা বিকেলবেলা আজকে ইউটিউবে দেখে নাও। Because a few days back, she came on camera and she said,
I saw that.
She said that my daughter refuses to go to school anymore. She says that, I don't want to be a doctor, engineer, or a working professional. I'd rather do what you've done. At least I think I'm safe that way.
Safe that way. And she made that compelling video.
Yeah, I mean,
See that ire in her.
not a stunt, Piyu. I was having breakfast. She's been very agitated for a
Yeah,
while now.
you could see that ire
And
in her.
absolutely, and she said that, Dada, আমি একটু বলতে চাই কয়েকটা কথা. I said, okay, fine. আমি কিন্তু তোমায় জোর করে ভিডিও করাচ্ছি না. তুমি এটা কি, and I gave a disclaimer আর কি, because I don't want to do stuntbaji and I don't believe in that. So I said, তুই কি বলতে চাস বল, একটু আমাকে বল. আমি বললাম, হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে. So that's what I'm saying. So ওদের বাড়িতেও মানে বাবুর বেচার বাড়িতেও, আমি call him বাবু lovingly. The thing is, Sujoy Dasgupta, she was a woman who revolutionized media in her own way. That woman, clad in a very traditional sari with flowers in her hair, comes on television and says, Namaskar, amar chotto bondhura. Respecting the audience.
Right.
Dorshokke amar bondhu bhaba. Considering your audience as friends
As a friend.
without being disrespectful.
Right.
Is something that I have seen the family crossing a lot of barriers at a time when that wasn't on.
Right.
So very automatically when I made my first film,
Yeah.
it was about youth.
Yeah,
Because my
033.
father had made something with youth,
Yeah.
033, and the lead was a woman. In Swastika.
Yeah.
So it has always come very naturally,
Organically.
and I don't think that and I'll proudly say that all my films have female leads, but that's very normal because I have been
Comes organically to you.
I have been
Brought up
bred
like
in a
that.
family where women have been more powerful than men, and there's
Right,
nothing wrong with
right.
that.
This is very true.
So my question to you, Birsa, is, and thank you, Sujoy, for laying the context that Tomar childhood was in the shadow of a very powerful mother, right? Of course, your father was also a legend in his own right, and your mother, in a way, sort of, she was an emblem of our childhood. Jokhon Rajiv Gandhi election e jitlo, my mother, who was then a single mother and she was a working woman, she was a teacher, she bought a color TV. I think my mother had the biggest crush, like many women of her generation, on Rajiv Gandhi.
Of course, my mom.
Yeah. So on that TV, I saw your mother, right, break the news, as they say, to a nation, right? So actor holo je, you've had this very strong women role models in your life. How has that impacted not just your cinema, but I think even your way of living? I think, masculinity is also a way of living. How did it affect, your sort of upbringing or tomar je prism of looking at the world?
When I have grown up, I have seen a woman. For a long time I didn't know that a blouse can be হাত কাটা আর পিঠ কাটা ছাড়া ব্লাউজ হয়, এটা I didn't never realized, because that is what my mother wore all the time.
Exactly.
Okay, so I can't explain exactly what changed or what happened, but I think nothing changed because I was born into something where I'm automatically the way I am.
You were exposed to that.
I mean, you have to think both sexes same and respect, and like I don't believe যে ওই গাড়ির সামনে কে বসবে, because I always saw my fathers asking my mother to sit in front. So এই ছোট জিনিস না এগুলো, it comes from very like you said, basic things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have never thought যে a man is even an inch different or better or superior or anything than woman. Rather, I would say that I have always seen women in my family, and I have a very broad family. My family doesn't just end in India, it also goes into Italy, and since my grandmother went and married Roberto Rossellini, and that family has also been taken care of by Thamma.
Right.
We have grown up. I have my step aunt is Isabella Rossellini. I have went and met her.
Right.
I've seen how strong a woman Isabella is,
Yes.
and how the women in the family actually keep the family together. In contrast to what people generally say about that in the 50s, 1957 is when this happened. তো অনেক রকম কথাবার্তা আছে এবং অনেক there's a book by Dilip Padgaonkar called Under Her Spell, which is about Thamma, saying that এবং সেখানে অনেক ভুল ইনফরমেশন আছে. So when I went and I met the family there also, I've seen ওখানেও না মানে ওখানেও ইসাবেলার মা কে ইসাবেলার মা
Ingrid Bergman.
Ingrid Bergman.
মানে ঠাম্মা যখন গেলেন তখন রোবর্টো অ্যাকচুয়ালি হি ওয়াজ নট ডুইং এনিথিং মানে অনেক ডকুমেন্টারিজ ইজ মেকিং বাট হি ইজ ইন ডেট ওকে সো মানে ইনগ্রিড অ্যান্ড সোনালি ran the show.
Yes.
Sonali opened the first boutique, Indian fabric boutique in Europe, in Rome, near the Spanish Steps. I went there recently, and they were running the family. I have grown up seeing that women are far stronger than men, and I have no qualms in saying it.
And you are a full-time working mother, Birsa.
Yeah.
How was that experience? How was the power equation at home? I'm quite sort of curious.
See, also my father was also away making TV shows. It was fun without parents at home. Okay. Hence, we both brothers, we can cook. So cooking came very naturally because if you wanted মা নেই আর মাঝে মধ্যেই মাসি যে রান্না করেন তিনি আসছেন না, so obviously you cook your own stuff. But never felt I mean when we needed them they were always there. She was always there, but we were very proud that I'll tell you one thing. ছোটবেলায় স্কুলে I had a problem because parent teachers meeting would say that please don't come to my mother because it was like the fans. So my problem was that why am I getting attention? Because my mother is famous for that little time. So this was the only issue I had, that why are you guys famous?
But was she an emotionally available parent?
Always.
Okay, because these are the misnomers about working women, right? That if you're a busy working mother, then you're emotionally unavailable.
She was more emotionally available than any other
woman.
They were both. Both of them were there. My parents separated.
For a while,
for 4 years.
Okay.
And
as in they lived separately.
They lived separately.
Okay.
Yes.
And because they had their issues with each other and they separated. So
how did that impact you?
I think even stronger in our because I
children
started earning from the age of 18.
And the children brought back the parents together. Sorry, just adding to it.
I started working from 18. Realized that I have to earn enough to ensure that because Ma will retire after a point.
Correct.
And there was this time when Baba was not getting much work because from weekly serials we have suddenly come to mega serials. Those 3-4 years I was more with my dad, my brother was more with my mother, and we would what we did is that when in my 20s I left Kolkata. Okay. I left Kolkata not just because I wanted to work in Bombay, but I wanted that me leaving, then my brother came to stay with me. So obviously they had no other option but to come back together. Okay. And then they came back together and the rest is history.
Right.
But see, life is people, you have to let people live their life. Man, woman, or like whoever they identify themselves as, no one should control the other person.
And also another person that I'm sure Babu will agree with me is a very powerful figure in their family, Shoag Sen. Somebody who's broken
my aunts
years back.
My aunts and step-aunts are all very strong people.
Very strong
Yeah, they're strong women. I think that reflects in your work.
And I say strong people. If you see, I don't see
women.
Strong humans.
Because I don't see
strong
people.
Yeah. We don't have to segregate them according to their gender. Tell me about your childhood, Sujoy, and also about the fact that you didn't have, like me, a very perfect. We had wonderful mothers, but our lives were not smooth and easy always.
Both my parents, when they started out, which I haven't seen much, but the little that I've seen, I've always seen them having a bond to begin with. The disparity started much later, and due to reasons that are very unimportant at this point of time in this show. But what happened was, this absenteeism that you're talking about in terms of a parental co-opting or sharing, Baba was absent even being present for many years. But that doesn't stop me from saying that he's also paid for my education in a big way. Coercing me to do things that I didn't want to do at one point of time. To conform to the norms of heteronormative existence and also masculinity. Ma initially was confused, but warmed up to the fact that her child should have a free soul, should be disciplined in her own terms because of the opinions that she held, but not unliberated. Because she was a very liberated woman.
Such a liberated woman. Yeah.
True.
You know, from the age of 26, she's lived without having sex. I've never seen my parents sharing the same bedroom.
Right.
You know, being such a gorgeous woman that she was.
And with that appeal, that whole,
She had
that persona.
eyeballs soaring for her.
Absolutely.
But she was, I can't say whether she was asexual or not, but she didn't care.
She didn't care.
She wanted to do what she wanted to do. My childhood, like questions that have always kind of been on my mind. I even asked Ma, why don't you have enough friends? That I didn't need a friend. I became my friend. I've seen my father even forget about the disparity and the conflict. My father had a job which made him travel
A lot.
extensively. So my mother worked very hard on herself to bring me up. Not according to her own norms, but also the way she wanted to bring me up. Told me a few things about discovering my sexuality that mothers would not.
Tell their children.
I remember when I came up to and spoke to Ma about masturbation. She said, yeah, I mean, women do it differently, you do it differently.
Right.
You will learn the trick. I asked her questions which could be so vulgar otherwise. But I could ask these questions. I remember this very, very vividly. I have never had a clear, conscious discussion with her about my sexuality. After few years,
She warmed up.
not only warmed up, she said only one thing to me. শোনো তুমি বিয়ে থাক যদি নাও করো আমার কোনো আপত্তি নেই, তুমি করবে না আমি বুঝে নিয়েছি বিয়ে থাক, কিন্তু তুমি যদি এমন কাউকে পাও যার সঙ্গে তুমি ঘর সংসার করতে চাও সে যেই হোক, সে যেই হোক.
That's the operative one.
Sujoy Chatterjee coming and saying this to me was a big thing
It's
at
a
that point of
breakthrough
time.
moment.
আমি তখনও বুঝতে পারিনি যে আমার কি উত্তর দেওয়া উচিত. Because in school also there were men who would either abuse me or sexually fondle me, which I enjoyed and which I did not enjoy also. So I knew I was different. My man boobs was a center of attraction in school for a longest period of time. I remember having sexual encounters with, getting intimate. Why encounter? Getting intimate with a whole lot of men friends from school also. They were possibly bi-curious, but I didn't know what bi-curiosity meant
we
those
didn't
days.
know these
I
things.
enjoyed, they enjoyed. And I don't call that abuse. Abuse was different. Abuse was more verbal and more, I would say, latent and mental than physical. A lot of these now men who were boys at that point of time, we had fun. Couple of months back when I was in Darjeeling, this married school friend of mine took me in the corner and stole a kiss with me. He wanted to feel it like it was. I didn't feel used. That guy and I had a gobhir prem for many years, which he agrees till today pew.
That's good.
And my father, as I said, I cannot deny the love that I have for him. I do miss him. But I do not still adhere to a lot of things that he did to my mother. Because they never separated like Kayadi and Raja did for 4 years. They were always together and they were cribbing, they were battling it out. And especially because my mum wanted to battle it out. Not that she wanted to put up with toxicity. She wanted to fight it out for only one reason. She loved that man. She gave up on an illustrious career in her films. She was a film actor.
Absolutely.
She'd done two very I mean, very famous films. One of the only films that she's done that is, I mean, one of the films that she's done is Joy Jayanti, which released in Globe Cinema. And the fact is, Piyu, Ma ke kono din ami here jete dekhini. My dad has also had a very positive influence of me in spite of having a very ugly relationship with Ma for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I've seen that, but the fact is, my father has been absent, but he also insisted on my education. Both of them had inhibitions about my masculinity, but they did not continuously impose that on me.
Yeah, which I think is great. Birsa, I want to come to you from a strong, almost iconic mother to a strong and iconic partner. Also somebody who's borne the brunt of a difficult first marriage. Vidipta was on my show and she spoke about the emotional abuse that she underwent and the deep scars that something like that leaves. Amra always bhabi physical violence is the highest common denominator of abuse, but it's not. How did you meet Vidipta? And like you said, I mean, the women of your family are the real tigresses. How did that happen?
Yeah, like I said, from frying pan to fire.
Okay,
from
frying pan to
Choitali to
fire.
Vidipta.
Okay.
So I had known Vidipta from childhood almost because she was very close to my dad. Ekushipa she acted in, all the sisters acted in, all that. And she jokingly says, Chote balai gal tipta amar. So 2004, I was in Bombay from 2000, Poush Mela, Shantiniketan. So my mother used to give a stall.
Right.
So both me and my brother Ribhu Bilbo, we wanted to come and give them a surprise. So we came from Bombay, we took a friend's car, Chitru Pish's car, and we drove to Shantiniketan. So we went to her stall, Shondhebala, and she was there, and Vidipta also was there with Vidipta's husband and daughter and everything.
Right.
So that's where we met again. And I think it was just that night, there was some connection. But I woke up next morning because we all stayed I think we all partied that night and we stayed in the same place. I woke up in the morning with Somri, Meghla, she was 4 years old, sitting on me.
Oh.
Okay. And Babu Dada, get up, we have to play. So I think that something happened. And in the next 3 months, I had packed up from Bombay and I was living in Kolkata and the three of us were together. So it happened very organically. My friends in Bombay said that, Birsa goes where his heart goes, so let him go.
Right.
I was working with Kashyap, he got so angry. In the next film that he made called No Smoking, his villain was named ACP Birsa Dasgupta.
Okay, so that's named after you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So all that happened, but I came in and then we settled down. Yeah, it was difficult initially because I was 24. I didn't know how to be a father.
Exactly.
But I think it is Meghla who made me a father. Instead of me becoming a father, I think she made me into a father. See, there will be a lot of trouble. But I think we need to learn how to, go through that and navigate and go beyond it.
And also Laluda was a different person, Birsa is a different person.
Exactly.
Their way of confronting challenges and also, that
When
bridge.
Lalu passed away,
Yeah,
I was the one who did everything.
right.
So it's because there was Somri, there was Meghla. So obviously
That was a bridge.
Of course. Your comment on Facebook recently caught my eye, where you wrote about being a father, right? You wrote about being horribly scared now for the future of your two daughters, aged 24 and 13 respectively. And you also brought up a very important comment which I want to put on the table, and then I'll go to Sujoy about how he was exploited and harassed in his first job. I mean, because of his sheer brilliance, I think. Basically, এই যে আমরা খুব ইজিলি বাচ্চাদের বা যখন একটা মেয়ে পরবর্তীকালে যদি অ্যাবিউজড হন কাজের ক্ষেত্রে বা এনিওয়্যার, we often as women also tell them, তুমি জানতে না এটা ব্যাড টাচ, তুমি কেন পুলিশের কাছে যাওনি, why didn't you complain, why did it take so many years for you to come out? I've had friends like Priya Ramani, Vinta Nanda, who spearheaded the Me Too movement, back when it erupted in India. And that was the first thing being told to them. They were trolled by women.
Why now?
Why now? Now, see, the thing is, growing up in an Indian household, we don't know this.
And there is no now.
And the thing is, আমরা আসছি, কেউ দাদুর বন্ধু এলো, বাবার বন্ধু এলো, তার কোলে, এই আয় কোলে বস, আঙ্কেলের কোলে বস, আঙ্কেলের কোলে উঠে পড়. How nobody teaches us this, and in a lot of families,
I teach
Birsa,
my daughters.
yeah, I mean, I'm coming to that. In a lot of families, even when the daughter or the son, they go and complain to the mother or the father or the granny, saying that मुझे अजीब लगा या उन्होंने ऐसे किया. Like I was listening to a recording of a little boy who didn't even know what to call his private. He kept calling it choo choo. He said मेरे चूचू को लेके बहुत लग रहा था. So तुम्ही जेटा लिखेছো, there can be a lot of incestuous abuse, there can be violation of boundaries in a home, and we shield that, we protect that. Where did those sentiments come from?
See, I strongly believe one should realize what is the difference between affection and perversion.
Yeah.
And I try to teach them how to identify perverts. And see, a pervert can be there as in your close circle of friends.
Absolutely.
Can be
Predators everywhere.
relative.
Yeah.
And no vaccine can cure
Cure
them.
that.
Cure that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we need to be very conscious. Like very jokingly, me and my daughters, we have this discussion that ke kole boshano kaku, ke gaye hath dao kaku.
Exactly.
But এটা jokingly হয়, but there is a deep seated meaning to this.
Yeah. And they know.
They know.
Yeah, that's important.
They know, and with Meghla and with Ida now, we have always discussed sexuality and everything so openly. I don't think they can come and tell us. Something happened with Meghla. She couldn't tell us for a long time, but now she has told us.
Okay.
And we would ensure that it doesn't get repeated with Ida.
Okay.
And so they have to be very,
Also, Meghla is stepping into an industry where you work, where such violations are rampant.
Exactly.
And I think as not only as a filmmaker but also as a father here, she also has to be extra aware and careful.
See, this is where I have a problem, that why will women have to be extra aware? But you have to be.
We
You
have
can't
to.
help.
I know,
And it's
Babu,
non-negotiable now. Yeah.
It's absolutely non-negotiable,
Yeah.
and also, thankfully, since Meghla belongs to the Dasguptas as a family, she has a voice. But not everybody has a voice. Not everybody is actually allowed to exert that voice. Birsa, you raised something very important, and she also echoed the same. Why not now? Now there are filmmakers in the industry. I mean, one can write a whole book on Me Too about them. There are theatre directors.
Let's not go there.
I'm just saying.
No, why not?
There are theatre
Let us go
directors
there, actually.
who have been pointed out now, but there were theatre directors, I mean, from a different era, who were equally abusive, if not more. Nobody talked about it. Nobody addressed it. So there are different kind of kakus. There are different kind of kakimas. Women can also be very abusive.
Absolutely.
A lot of women are very, 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 very abusive.
And more than being physically abusive, they can be mentally abusive.
Oh yeah,
Emotionally,
absolutely,
absolutely. Sujoy, you went through a really tough time in your first job.
Not my first job; it was my third
job.
Yeah.
Okay, but the one that I've at least heard you talking
You
a
did
lot
not
about.
get third time lucky.
You didn't get. So how did that? I mean,
My first two jobs, I never faced. I would never say that I didn't face abuse, but not to this extent. But 92.7 Big FM was an experience that I would never forget. I mean, I've had brilliant mentors, 2 or 3 brilliant mentors, but I had a whole lot of men. I mean, I don't know what to say to you because it doesn't matter to me anymore.
But
I said this in a
important for
podcast.
somebody
Somebody was
else.
interviewing
Yeah.
me. I said the kind of gender violation, abuse, obnoxious masculinity, toxicity was a different level altogether. I mean, I remember working with. I can name him on the show, but
Please do.
I would not.
Please
only
do.
for. I mean, I like to say that I faced a lot of abuse from Shilajit. When I used to work with him on a. I mean, verbal. But yes, verbal. Verbal was the strongest. But it's something that I don't. I've forgiven him. why should I live with negativity? And I don't want to like raise a storm about it because he's not important to me. He's possibly important to a city, and I'm sure he has his own art form that he practices.
Did you ever complain to the HR?
No, I did not complain to the HR because I could veritably see the HR was very weak.
It is still in most companies.
It's very weak
Yeah.
and very fancy, very sugar-coated HR. In 92.7 Big FM, I only had a boss later when I used to head their public relations who was a I mean, I've never got a woman boss like this in my whole life. I've had a lot of bad women bosses.
Yeah.
But this woman was fabulous.
Okay.
She projected my work. She helped me to gain a lot of confidence that I had lost in shit in that company. But yeah, I mean, when I look back, I've also had mentors. I've done a lot of things for that radio station which they can't even think about doing.
And it still continues.
No, I mean it's in doldrums at the moment. Let's not.
Yeah.
They
But they've
don't
taken
even
your
have a
work
proper
and-
studio.
run
So
with
let's
it
not
for
even
so many
go
years.
there. I mean I don't want to get into their policies or stuff. But yeah, I mean I faced a lot of challenges. I mean, can you imagine? I've been working on a 15th August, and the only person who's working till midnight.
Public
Forget about
holiday.
midnight.
Yeah.
Till about 4 o'clock in the morning in the station without any complaint whatsoever because it's my job. But your work is being sabotaged. My work was sabotaged by a lot of people who now behave as if I'm God's gift to mankind.
That's what fame does to
Oh
you.
yeah. I know that very well. A lot of people have apologized to me on Instagram. Forgiveness doesn't mean you're reconnecting. It's
Yeah,
okay.
just letting go.
I'm sure, like me, a lot of people have gone through this. I was not strong at that point of time. I was vulnerable. I'm not ashamed of my vulnerabilities. I mean, I am still emotionally vulnerable to an extent, but I know where to draw my boundaries. But men, women in that company were not exactly very fair to me.
Right.
I would like to repeat that I've had mentors who were very nice to me, but there were people, men, especially in this company,
Right.
who were very unkind, brutally unkind.
Right.
So
Birsa, I'm going to bring up the Me Too movement, because you represent an industry where power is used to subjugate women. And I think a lot of our popular culture also endorses this formula of exploitation. Women are shown as creatures of male lust. It's just, the roles written for women are abysmal. There's horrible ageism that, at a certain age, then this is what you play. I'll be honest with you, if you see what's happening right now in Kerala, in the film industry, and also I think there will be a wave of Me Too here as well. Because recently 3 actresses have gone against a film producer. And, they have said, flat bondo kore rekhechilo and, all of that. Now, what I feel is, why is it that, powerful men, and Bidipta said this on the show and it was ratified by others who've been on the streets protesting, that openly abusers, people who have had, forced sexual relations with women, tara mede literally arm twisting kore je eta na korle tumi eta pabe na, that kind of dadagiri jeta bole. They are walking, they are holding placard, tara gan likhche, they are doing this gimmicky sort of protest. You've been a part of the industry for so long, and like so many of your films deal with women, right? I mean, different facets of womanhood. Why do you think in film industry in particular, ato young mera ashe, modeling bolo, film bolo, media bolo, these are the 3 areas where I'm sure there's Me Too everywhere, but egulote beshi
it gets more projected.
More
So I'll tell you,
yeah.
see, movies represent life, okay, and life in India is like that. It's in our culture. It's in our. We worship a god who is to steal clothes from the gopiyas. So we come from a culture where see
Stalking
I
is
started watching Kalki,
personified,
and the first thing was Shree Amitabh Bachchan, Shree Prabhas, then there was Deepika Padukone. So I was like, see, you have to realize South is more into this. The way South treat women, and women have also accepted this for years. That the masculinity or what you're talking about, আমাদের এখানে, see, I would still say that east of India is still more, এখানে mothers are more important. You go to Assam and you go to people, it's more matriarchal. Compared to, and we always say UP and we always say North, but it's not just North. The South, they are supremely into this. Okay,
patriarchal.
Absolutely patriarchal. So, and that is what reflects in their cinema. In the 80s, 90s, even till a decade back, Bollywood was into this. Thankfully, Bollywood is making movies that are now different and stuff. But it's inherent in our culture. We have to go down there. It's in the worships that we do. We have to go there. We can't just point out at a film industry. Film industry is getting projected because the film industry or theatre industry or television industry is more there. People see it, so people know, and it's easy to abuse people from industry.
I have also been thoroughly ashamed and disappointed in our Honourable Chief Minister, in her offering 10 lakhs to the bereaved parents, I think the devastated parents of the deceased, Tilottomar ma babake. But women making comments that এটা তো এরকম সাজানো ঘটনা, when the Park Street rape happened. Also, এটা তুমি,
I'm not devastated because I just expect this from her.
No, I'll tell you something. See, we all revolted during Nondigram. We were on the streets, we were taken inside prison and all that happened. We have brought her here. So let's accept that.
Of course.
And I really expected her.
She's been brought into power by the intelligentsia much more than the cattle class.
Correct.
Yeah.
So where this has gone to now and the way this is getting covered up, I never expected this from her. He probably expected, I did not expect.
No, expected না, আমার
I thought
I expected this because আসলে কি জানিস তো প্রিয়, আমি বাবু তো একটা অন্যরকম পরিবার থেকে আসে, বাবুর আউটলুকটা একটু আলাদা, আমার আউটলুকটা একটু আলাদা। আমি না, বিশ্বাস কর, আমি এমন একটা জিনিস আমি খুব অবাক হইনি। এটাই হয়তো ওইটা কি বলতো, অনেকটা ওই পলিসির মতো, ইটস লাইক আ কর্পোরেট পলিসি। ও আচ্ছা, রেপ হয়েছে, মারা গেছে, আমাদের তো 10 লাখ টাকা দেওয়া উচিত। 10 লাখ টাকা কি মতো, গভর্নমেন্ট গ্রান্টের মতো। আমি একটা গভর্নমেন্টের কোনো প্রোগ্রাম করতে যাচ্ছি, আমার স্ল্যাবটা হচ্ছে 5000, তো রেপের জন্য স্ল্যাব বোধহয় 10 লাখ টাকা, সেটা হতে পারে, ওটা তো স্ল্যাব। আই এম মোর ডেভাস্টেটেড at her approach to the entire incident.
She should have pointed out the people in her own government and brought them to light, and then she would have been the hero that she was to us 10-15 years back. But unfortunately she isn't a hero anymore. It's very sad, but it's true.
But what about the men walking the streets who've been predators and today they are mimicking as if they are for us? How do you feel about that? Why aren't they being called out in these rallies?
See, every time something this unfortunate happens, these kind of people take advantage of that.
Footage.
For them this is footage, for them this is shielding them, this is giving them that cover that they are good people. So that will keep happening. See, it's very difficult to call out people. I mean, we can name people in an industry, but like we were discussing, if I call out a man's name and I say that what he has done to like 15 women
is not good.
I mean, 10 women from those 15 have willingly done it with him.
And that's a narrative we don't talk. I mean, that's a narrative we don't talk about. I mean, there's a lot of illusion about gender politics in the whole city now. So it's very easy and it's good to call out predators, but what's been your equation with the predator?
I've been making films for 15 years. Do you think that I have not been approached by women? So women do this also.
What's been consensual, and there's a very fine line.
There's a very fine line. Absolutely, very fine line.
Let's for the sake of hypothetically, let's assume that you have abused me for say months, and for months I've used you for my own little climbing to the social strata, money, dinners, travel, everything, and suddenly I turn back, or I've even acted in your films. Let's assume that you're a filmmaker, and suddenly I realize, oh shit, I've gone through so much shit. I need to call out. How hypocritical is that? What kind of hypocrisy is that? Now the question is, here is not now and never. No. But what is that you want to achieve through this now? There's a lot of agenda in calling out people also.
Absolutely.
It's called chance per dance.
Yeah. Footage khawa na?
Aritra kotha bolchi, there's another side of this narrative. This is my narrative. I mean, you both have absolute right to disagree with me, but I will hold on to it.
Yeah.
I mean, there could be a lot of predators walking processions wherever, in every part of the world, but I'm sure once a predator cannot remain a predator for the life, or we do not scar them to life. A lot of people also willingly and intentionally, knowingly apologize and understand what they have done. I'm not saying that
Very few.
Very few. But there are few. There are people who have done enough nonsense, but they have.
Spacey, for instance,
they have realized. They have realized. But also, I mean, that is possibly a very idealistic situation. But yes. I mean, I have been cheated by a man who's a theatre practitioner for for a year to even I understood what was the abuse.
What he's doing to you, yeah.
But so I can't call out because I willingly agreed to it.
That's the thing.
I agreed to the arrangement.
Intimate partner abuse, right? It's so fine combed, you know.
তোকে আমি আগেও বলেছি এটা, তুই জানিস, মাসিও জানতো। I agreed to it. আজকে you were talking about the abuse that goes on in the community. First of all, I don't believe in communities. I believe in a diaspora, which is my conflict with the community. My point of conflict with the community is that. But the fact is, I mean, look at the way the LGBTQIA++ community have either warmed up to me or have absolutely abused me to the core on social media.
You get a lot of flack.
Oh, I get a lot of flack because a lot of people believe that my activism is very armchair. No, I'm not going to answer your question. I'm not answerable to you whether what kind of activism I practice. Please understand, Piyu, one thing, and let me put this straight across the table today. I'm one of the few people in Kolkata that the youth looks up to because I have worked with the youth much more than anyone in my generation in my field of arts have actually worked. I've gone ahead and supported youth theatre groups when there was no one to hold their hands. I have gone ahead and worked with younger people on stage when nobody looked at that. I've presented theatre actors for their solos in Padati theatre with my own fucking money. An industry that practices... An industry that... let's walk the talk later.
Okay.
An industry that practices discrimination to the core. I don't expect much from the industry. And our acta kotha to খুব clear. Bangla chhobi cannot pay for the malt that I drink. So, I don't care much about it now, today. আজকের এসে আমার আর কোনো ওই দুঃখটা আর নেই। আমার কোনো দুঃখ
নেই। cannot pay for anything at this moment.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, it's very. When I say this, there's no arrogance in this. I'm just saying I'm stating the blatant fact.
It's sad, yeah. It is sad.
I mean, I don't know what it takes to get work here.
What do you think it is?
I don't know what it takes to get work here, whether it's blowjobs or being arm candy. But I don't care really now. I really don't care now because for me, I'm very good at blowjobs, so I better be paid for it. There are no free lunches and blowjobs in my life. As simple as that. Okay. So I'm not willing to offer it without being paid very, very handsomely for it. Yeah?
Cash or
shut up. B is the fact that, there are filmmakers who are also there, who take a chance, who not only take a chance, who think differently about me. There is an Aritra Sen or a Arunok Chatterjee who cast me in alpha male roles.
Absolutely.
And I went ahead and did that film, and people said the film probably did not do well. But listen, if today people go and watch Nikhoj on Z5, a film which may not have released commercially, done too well, it was never released commercially. It is on OTT now. People. I mean, since it's not very highly viewed, if people come back to, oh, you played a mafia. Oh my God, the way you murdered. I said, I understand that. So people are adhering to that alpha male principles. They're not used to watching Sujoy Prasad Chatterjee playing an alpha male. But that is a character. আমাকে বাংলা সিনেমা যদি আজ থেকে জীবনে কোনোদিনও রোল না দেয়, আমি ছাত্রছাত্রী পড়িয়ে যা রোজগার করব সেটা বাংলা ছবি আমাকে দিতে পারবে না। Because I'm an educated actor. My education is a threat. এটা Birsa Dasgupta আমাকে over a glass of rum বলেছে, অনেকবার বলেছি।
This is true for me also.
Which is a problem.
Education and humility is a threat.
Education and the problem with the film industry here in this part of the world, not in Bombay so much, because in Bombay people get more opportunities because there are auditions, Pew.
And
there are auditions.
And there's so much work.
Today, if any of these younger people who are working with you, if one of them aspires to be an actor and tells me, Sujoy da, আমাকে একটু বলবে কি করতে হয়, I have no answer. কারণ আমি তো জানি না auditions কোথায় হয়. Please understand, nobody supports Birsa Dasgupta or Srijit Mukherjee for their families. Or a Bhaumik for their families. Or a Kamaleshwar Mukherjee for their families. I mean, or a Kaushik Ganguly for their families. এরা ব্যক্তিগত জীবনে কি প্র্যাকটিস করে সেটা তাদের যুদ্ধ, আমার যুদ্ধ নয়।
You know, we're almost coming to the end of the show, and I have to ask you, as a father, as a son, as ambassadors in a way of culture in this city, what does masculinity mean to you today? What hope do we have for masculinity? You know, every procession that has passed in front of my house, I stay in Jodhpur Park, I've seen more men actually. I've seen men, you know, carry candles, you know, kalo jama pore ba bow lagiye. I am thinking that edike amra tilottama abhaya ei oi kore, but are we being able to change the basic misogyny which is so prevalent, and the idea that men in this country have, or law breakers in this country have, कि मेरे साथ तो कुछ नहीं होगा.
What we can do is that in our own little homes we can start, like they say, charity begins at home. We can start telling people how to treat women, how to treat human beings, respect for each other, and respect her because she gives birth to you. God damn it. Okay. So yeah, she is more powerful than you in any which way. She has a power that you don't have. She has all the other powers that you have. Then she has a power that you don't have. So understand that, and for that respect her, take care of her, but don't say that আমি তো তোমার care করছি.
Rakshak.
No. It is your duty because she is also taking care of you. So that's, I think it should begin at a very, very, you know, family, between parents, between
also sex education being integrated into our curriculums. Right now it's not.
It's not there. Yeah, my younger daughter, she's studying a bit of it. There has to be a huge revolution. There might just be a war. And I only think that is the way the subcontinent will change and will become like the rest of the world.
And in your protest groups, you were saying that you notice a lot of this mudslinging. Somebody saying that, oh, you've taken him, but, you know, this man is a predator. What do you do then as the admin of that group? Do you chuck them out? Do you?
No, we are just letting people come in now, because the more people, the more the rally and all that.
I mean,
And
is there a process of filtration?
we don't do anything. Whoever wants to come in, it has been very organic. People have just come in and wanted to be a part, and we'll take it from here. See, we have made some policies. We have also yesterday we have emailed to health ministry, to education ministry, to a lot of people.
Fabulous.
We are sending petitions.
That's great.
All of them give my phone number, so I keep getting calls.
Yeah.
So I am looking more into the legal part of it. Whatever will go out, since I have a lot of criminal lawyer friends, so I do that bit. The going out in the streets and doing the revolution is more the women, and I would want to not be in front. I would not even want to people to know that I am a part of it. I would be behind, because why will a man be a part of a?
Why will he hog the limelight?
Why will he hog the limelight?
Correct.
But like I say, that I don't differentiate between man and woman, and I think we the people will have to take our own self initiatives.
Right.
Yeah.
There's something that recently I've seen last 2-3 years on Instagram Reels. Virat Kohli and Anushka Sharma are shopping somewhere, and Virat Kohli is carrying the packets. And that what a great husband he is, and he's the green flag.
Yeah.
I don't understand this.
That is a kind of misogyny.
That
See,
is
this
a
is-
kind
this
of
is-
tacit misogyny.
So there are people who are saying that he's such a good man.
Why? Because he's carrying bags.
I mean, that is where the problem lies.
Yeah.
There is
And-
nothing. There is no green
Absolutely.
flag in that.
There's no
That
green
is what
flag
he's
in
supposed
that.
to do.
There's no green flag in that, and even if Anushka was carrying the bags, I see nothing wrong in
Yeah.
Absolutely.
it. And it's just that that is a very far-fetched equality that we are talking
And
about.
it's again a boxing, no? That a
Absolutely.
woman মানে ছেলেটা ব্যাগ ধরবে তাহলে ও ভালো
কোন হিরো
husband-
তার গার্লফ্রেন্ডের
হ্যাঁ।
জন্য দরজা খুলে দেয় গাড়িতে ওঠার জন্য? That's like,
I mean, I think as women today, as modern day feminists, or even as a very proud woman, we want much more. We want accountability. We want laws which are fast tracked and lead to imprisonment or whatever penalty is, accredited for that
And also,
crime.
I think another very simple solution is very simple. I mean, not very difficult. I think we should have, outlets for sex toys in Calcutta. I think
Fancy
with that,
market-এ পাওয়া যায়।
হ্যাঁ, কিন্তু জানিস তো মানে সাউথ সিটি মলেও পেতে হবে।
no, this I have been saying, and people,
I mean, I think it's very important because I understand.
there should be recreational facilities in every locality.
Yeah, yeah.
Then I think all this will stop.
Possibly.
It's not that simple.
I mean,
respectfully
yeah.
disagree, because I think rape is also it's a power game, and for a lot of times
It is a huge power game.
and
Huge
also,
power game.
As is being alleged, I'm saying alleged because it's still in the courts, that Tilottoma was in all likelihood a whistleblower for a much deeper, more sinister
Racket.
crime, many crime rackets, porn bolo, organ যেটা হচ্ছে organ racket, organ পাচার, তারপরে ধরে নাও chemical wastage. So that's only the top of the lid. But I also feel that we should lose this coyness about sex. Instead of making stupid sex comedies, we should actually make intelligent films about intimacy, chemistry, same-sex love, or love which is not normative, which is beyond blurring out the lines. I think let respect lead the way.
Absolutely,
Is
respect.
what I would say. At the end of this chat, each of these episodes that we've shot as my personal protest or my personal view, and the way in which I expressed my solidarity with the protesters has also taught me a lot. Today's episode, I would like to specially thank Sujoy, for always making the time for my work, not just this podcast. Birsa, it's been an absolute pleasure. We've met for the first time.
Yeah.
But I hope I have many more brushes with the Dasgupta clan now that I've heard such sort of glowing praises and inspiring stories. I think at the core of what we've tried to say on this particular episode of Straight Up with Shree is let respect lead the way. And I think if we let respect lead the way, we will insist on justice. Justice will be non-negotiable. We will insist on accountability, be it in our homes, be it in our offices, be it in our universities, our colleges, our schools, as well as our with the people in power. We will demand accountability. Accountability will be a given, like they say. And all I want to say is that we all talk about diversity and inclusion, but let us also understand that there are diverse shades of masculinity. And while, of course, we know now that not every man is a rapist, let's also, let's also, as women, find our voices when we are being abused or exploited. Even when we see a woman doing this to another woman or a man, let us not cower down. Thanks, both of you. It's been an incredible episode. Like I said, it gives me time to introspect and also is cathartic at so many levels. Men are not the enemy. I keep saying this. We have to do a much deeper cleanse of our conscience, of our political systems, of our, the people we elect to power, of the sex ratio in this country, the gender politics, to understand what is at the root of this rot. Keep watching Straight Up with Shree. I hope this is a self-funded podcast, and we would love if you would like to collaborate in any form. Please watch out for our next episode. Like, subscribe, share, you know the drill. And keep the conversation going, keep the fire burning. I quoted a Billy Joel song last time, which is one of my favorites, where it says, "We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the earth's been turning." On that note, thank you so much.